You should not allow even a single person to die this winter from the freezing cold. That was what the Supreme Court of India ordered last year in December after more than 50 people died from the bitter cold last year. An order that has clearly fallen on a deaf and apathetic state which continues to offer platitudes but no visible solutions. And that explains why more than 100 people have already died this year across northern India. And mind you, these are the deaths that have been reported, with yesterday being the coldest day in 44 years. This number is going to go higher. So on the social network today, we get perspectives of what it's like across the country. Our topic today is thousands of homeless left to die, national human rights bodies ignoring the poor. Now, before we introduce our panel, let's quickly listen in to this video blog, which has come all the way from London.
I'm sure the government and the Met Department knows this is coming, but still they failed to warn or take any precautions to save the poor people. Is this because the poor people doesn't pay any tax and the government doesn't get any revenue at all from them? Shocking, completely shocking. A complete planning and preparation is missing. Shameful.
All right, now to join us on the discussion today, we've got a whole host of people. Let me quickly take you through them. We've got Azad, who's a campaigner for rehabilitation of homeless people. He's been doing it for donkey's years and has huge amounts of knowledge. We've got Pascal, who runs an NGO for children, Tara. And we're also joined by Nilim Dutta from Guwahati, who will talk about what the refugees over there who were displaced after the Kokrajhar incident are going through right now. We're also joined by Arundhati Thuru, who is again an expert. She is an advisor to the Supreme Court Court Commissioner on homeless people. So we've got a really expert panel there. Azad ji, आपसे शुरू करना चाहेंगे. ज़्यादातर लोग ये समझते हैं कि होमलेस लोग जो हैं वो गरीब हैं और इसीलिए एक तरह से सरकार उनको छोड़ देती है कि जहां पर रहना है रहो, जहां पर कुछ जैसे खाना है खाओ, मगर बेसिकली सरकार की तरफ से आप छोड़ देते हैं उनको एक तरफ से.
ये गलत बात है कि वो गरीब हैं, वो उनके हाथ हैं, वो काम करते हैं. 70 और 90% लोग वर्कर हैं. आइदर वो कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर हो, रिक्शा पुलर हो, या वो जो दुकानें हैं उन पर काम करते हैं. उनको मिनिमम वेज वहां से दुकानों से नहीं मिलता. चांदनी चौक की सभी दुकानों पे मिनिमम वेज नहीं मिलता. हमारा लेबर डिपार्टमेंट और जो वहां के अथॉरिटी हैं वो तो काम नहीं करती.
टैक्सेस देते हैं,
टैक्सेस देते हैं सभी लोग. गवर्नमेंट 3 तरीके के टैक्सेस लेती है: डायरेक्ट टैक्स, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स, सेल टैक्स. सभी लोग, इवन भिखारी और जो मरता है वो आदमी भी सरकार को टैक्स देता है. 33% टैक्स देते हैं लोग, और ये लोग भी टैक्स देते हैं.
Arundhati, do you want to come in on that? You know, the homeless pay taxes. They are as entitled to having a roof over their heads as any one of us. Why then does the state completely ignore them?
Absolutely, I think Azad bhai is absolutely right. I mean, the whole issue is, there is a complete denial from the government that the issue of homelessness exists in the first place. So naturally, there is a denial and there is a huge underestimation of the number of homeless people on the street. And the major problem is not that the homeless people have to survive on the street, it's because the government has failed to provide them adequate housing. And that's the reason people are there. I mean, there are people who are, most of the people in Lucknow and in any other cities in northern India are the people who are mostly laborers. I mean, many of them are seasonal migrants, many of them are permanent migrants, but they do not have adequate housing facilities in these cities or in the small towns. That's the reason they are being asked to, and they are forced to live on the street. And that's how they have become homeless.
But Arundhati, I just want to ask you, the Supreme Court came down very heavily. The order, there was no matter of confusion in that order at all. But yet, year after year, today we've already seen more than 100 people have died. And activists say that 4 people die every day because of the cold.
Absolutely, because the reason is most of the shelters were built, like for Uttar Pradesh, like for example, 23 shelters were built in UP, in Lucknow, and there were 139 shelters were built in all over UP in 11 cities of Uttar Pradesh, and those are all metropolitan cities. But mind you, the people are not dying only in the metropolitan cities in the first place. Secondly, most of the shelters actually are in the they are not done built up after the correct mapping of the cities, and that's the reason many of them are absolutely located in the wrong places. Most of them are not operational and functional. That's one of the major problems. The homeless people, those doors are locked. I have visited shelters. I've been visiting it last night also. We were on the street, and out of the 23, we found only 4 operational. Others were almost, there were lights.
All right, I'm just going to take that across to Nilim. Nilim, you were, of course, You've done lots of work in Assam, also in Guwahati. One of the things that Azadji mentioned was that these homeless people also include tribes and some such. What has been your experience? Please share with us.
See, as far as Assam is concerned, there is definitely the number of urban homeless. I don't think that is one issue which has been addressed adequately, but I would rather focus on another thing that has been brought on by the Assam violence which erupted in end of July. And as we all know, there have been around 3.5 lakhs people displaced from the villages they had lived in, and majority of them are from the minority community, very poor, and whose village houses, their homes in their villages had been absolutely ravaged, turned into rubble or burned down to ashes. And my 4 months had been rather harrowing, because National Human Rights Commission in its very first visit had already taken the state government to task over the inadequacy of relief and rehabilitation. And I must say that it's very unfortunate that this is still happening. I mean, people have gone back to their villages, but there have been little by way of enough material relief given by the government to be able to rebuild their homes. And many of these people had come without, barely with the clothes they had been wearing. And when they have been sent back,
right? Nilim, I just want to talk about many of these people who are homeless. बहुत से लोग आजाद जी जो होमलेस हैं ये कोकराझार के इंसिडेंट के बाद में वगैरह वगैरह, बहुत से लोग शहरों में आते हैं. मगर एक तरह से आपके पास आंकड़े हैं, आप बता रहे थे हमें कि आपके पास आंकड़े हैं कि बेसिकली ह्यूमन राइट्स बॉडीज जो है, नेशनल ह्यूमन राइट्स बॉडीज, दे रिफ्यूज टू एक्नॉलेज द एग्जिस्टेंस एंड प्रेजेंस ऑफ दीज पीपल.
मैं पहले उनकी बात को बता दूं. ज्यादातर लोग उन इलाकों से आते हैं जो जहां माइनिंग हो रही है, जहां रिलायंस को ठेका दिया है, वहां से लोगों को हटाया जा रहा है. वो लोग किसी न किसी तरीके से फिर अपनी रोजी रोटी, क्योंकि वहां उनका लैंड ले लिया गया है, उनको रोजगार नहीं दिया गया है, वो कहीं तो रोजगार के लिए आएंगे. आपने वो टोटल पैसा वहां से निकाल करके सिटीज में लगा रहे हैं. तो जब सिटी में आप, सरकार का सबसे ज्यादा पैसा सिटी में लग रहा है, तो वही लोग काम करने के लिए आएंगे. और सरकार ने यहाँ कोई उसके लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं डेवलप किया है. अगर प्रधानमंत्री इस देश में रहता है, यहाँ आ जाते हैं, उसका चपरासी को घर मिलता है, तो जो लोग यहाँ काम करने आ जाए, इधर वो कूड़ा उठाने आते हैं, वो रिक्शा चलाने आते हैं, वो दुकानों पे काम करते हैं, तो उनके लिए घर होना चाहिए. सरकार ने ऐसा अरेंजमेंट नहीं किया. 4 किलोमीटर के एरिया में IIT दिल्ली चलती है, उसका जो कैंपस है वो 500 मीटर में है. 3.5 किलोमीटर में तो लोग रहते हैं वहां. तो ऐसा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर IIT के लिए, कुछ लोगों के लिए बनाया.
बट आपने जो RTIs फाइल करी थी आजाद जी, उसमें आपको क्या,
देखिए, वुमेन कमीशन बोलता है, ऑन रिटर्न में बोल रहा है कि हमें जो बेघर महिलाएं हैं उनसे हमारा कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है. नेशनल वुमेन कमीशन फॉर वुमेन नॉट कंसर्न विद द होमलेस वुमेन.
Arundhati, I just want to bring you back in. I mean, I find what Azadji is mentioning right now absolutely shocking.
You can see this letter.
Okay, we seem to have lost Arundhati's audio. Sir, बताइए.
वुमेन कमीशन के यदुवेंद्र सिंह हैं, उन्होंने रिप्लाई किया है 24 जून को. उन्होंने बताया कि नेशनल वुमेन कमीशन फॉर वुमेन नॉट कंसर्न होमलेस मैटर.
राइट.
और सेम नेशनल कमीशन फॉर प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ चाइल्ड राइट बोलता है. तो अब ये इंस्टीट्यूशन हमने इतने बड़े बनाए हैं, और ये रोज टीवी पे आकर के, दूसरी जगह आकर के चिल्ला करके बोल रहे हैं हम ये कर रहे हैं. जो 1.5% से ज्यादा होमलेस लोग, हमारा देश का प्लानिंग कमीशन बोल रहा है कि 1.5% और 1% लोग देश के होमलेस हैं. तो ये जो अथॉरिटी है, हमारे कमीशन है, ये क्या ये बोल रहे हैं कि हमसे कंसर्न नहीं है. तो किस लिए ये इंस्टीट्यूशन बनाए हैं गवर्नमेंट ने? इनका बनाने का कोई ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं है.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app, fully optimized for retina display, full screen view, faster response time, and Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.